Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Can't hear you guys for some reason. Got no
We're
mic.
muted. Oh, you hear us now? No?
Well, you gotta unmute yourself.
Oh, well. Lost my little memo, so I'll ad-lib it. So welcome everyone to.
I guess I just get to talk today and don't have to listen.
So.
No, I'm
welcome
sharing
to-
that with you guys. You don't.
Can you hear me, Jazz? You can't hear? Jazz, can you hear me?
Nothing.
Okay, so somebody has to mute him.
Mute him.
Yeah,
Mute Jazz.
mute Jazz.
No, he's not mute yet.
Yeah, he should be though.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Joe. So welcome to the Town of Lake Cowichan Public Works and Environmental Services Committee meeting being held Tuesday, April the 20th, 2021, which is also International, I believe, Pot Day. Is that what it is? 420?
What day?
And we are meeting on the unceded territory of the Subasset people, and we are being held electronically and transmitted via council chambers located at 39 South Shore Road, Lake Cowichan, BC, as per Ministerial Order M192. So we'll remind the public that there will be time for a verbal comments that they'll be able to either phone in at 250-749-6681 with any questions about tonight's agenda, or they can email ahead of time to general@lakecowichan.ca. And just to remind council to be muted until they're ready to comment. And so with all that, I will call the meeting to order, and I'm looking for any introduction of late items. Councillor Austin?
I'm wondering if banners should go on public works, not parks, because we were meant to put banners on when we did the agenda meeting, because I got the banners from the high school. So can we put that under ongoing items 2 II?
2?
II, or right under parking limits?
Sure.
And I'll send pictures of the banners to everyone.
I'll ask Mayor Day first.
Well, I'm just wondering if we need to disrupt the agenda because they do appear in the next agenda and it's on the report from the Superintendent of Public Works. So why can't we just bring it up there? If that's, I think that's appropriate.
Okay, I didn't see banners on the ongoing, so, okay.
And I believe it's in his report.
In the report's fine, yeah.
Okay, so if nobody is looking to add anything, I'm looking for approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, thank you. And seconded by Councillor Sandu. All in favor? Okay, moved. So we have business arising and unfinished business. So we have parking limits and enforcement of the same. So is that going to be a report from our superintendent or our CAO to start us off?
Well, if I may, there was a letter, email that came from the two people that the superintendent met with on Saturday. And so I think you may want to refer to him as to what transpired. And I guess they have expressed some concerns over the terms we've suggested.
Are you able to speak to us, Jazz? You're muted right now, though.
Yeah.
It'll pick up.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm just gonna mute. We're gonna. Can you still hear me? Okay. So the parking issues, I did meet with Aaron from the Tube Shack and Lance from Just Jake's, or Jake's on the Lake. And we discussed different options. They didn't, I guess they don't totally agree with what we proposed to them. And I believe you guys have probably all seen the email with their concerns. So Joe and I will have to discuss this further. And if you guys got input, we're here to listen, and we've got to come up with some solution. We gave them we told them, the Saywell parking lot's going to be 2 hours, and it is going to be enforced the same as the pharmacy and some of the side streets in that area. They don't feel that's the right way to go. We gave them an option of we build a parking lot on Point Ideal Road between the road and the ballpark, and the town would have to charge them a fee, and they would have to control it and monitor it. But that's they're not. I guess they're not happy with that option, so we'll have to work on that.
Said Councillor Sandhu.
Even with 2-hour parking, if they're starting at Jake's tubing down to Little Beach, that's over 2 hours. And then to come back. And the question is, and then the tourists may want to go for a bite to eat. So that could be another 1.5 to 2 hours. So how could it be monitored that they would they have to move their vehicle as soon as they got back? I mean, would it be there? Would it be ticketed? But for any of the people that are going to park there because they're renting a tube, 2 hours is not going to work. So the option of going to that property just down Point Ideal, I think that's a great option, and I appreciate staff trying to think outside the box. But our side streets will be packed with people and cars if this isn't, if nothing changes. And
So Councillor Austin?
I kind of agree with that to a point, but I do think we have to stick by the 2-hour parking in both those places. And if the tube people or whoever's in Saywell Park, when the tubers come, can suggest they park down Point Ideal and other places, as long as they don't park in front of people's driveways. And I think that's a police matter, is it not? If someone parked in front of my driveway, can I phone the police to come and move them, or whatever? We do need somebody out there to monitor it, but I don't know where we're going to find the funds to do that. Someone had suggested to me about volunteers to be around to help with at least the 2 parking lots, but I don't know if we can do that either. But I think we have to stick to that 2 hours. And I know in the letter that Mr. Frisbee had written, or the email, he was saying it was going to hurt businesses. I can't see how them parking there all day long is going to hurt. It's going to hurt businesses more for them to park there all day long than just for people to come and go, because there's lots of people that drive through town, like the motorcycle guys that came through this weekend, that will stop and eat and go. Everybody's not going to stay. So I think we have to stick to that 2 hours. And thank you for looking at the parking lot on Point Ideal. I think that's a great idea.
Mayor Day?
I may have missed this, but I just need some clarification on how enforcement is going to take place on the streets and at Saywell.
Well, we have a few options. We've been having discussions with Robbins Parking, and they will provide us, if we want, they will provide us with signage to start with. And there's 2 options. Either they can come and enforce it with their staff, or we can do it with our staff. They would provide us the equipment and training. I believe that's the better method, and then we can have enforcement all day long, every day of the week. If they're coming up, it gets quite expensive. But Robbins will work with us, provide us all the equipment, and it would be you go through with equipment, just take license plates, and you can go back every hour or 2 hours and check. And if somebody's over parking, they get ticketed.
Mayor Day, you wanted to continue?
Just to follow up, please. So I've heard a lot of talk amongst us and amongst staff recently about staff capacity. Do we actually have the capacity to put a person on that job, and will it be a 5-day a week or a 7-day a week, and things like that? So I'm curious to be like that, because I just don't know how this is going to work. I don't understand how this is going to work when we can't have other services 7 days a week, but we all of a sudden now we can do parking monitoring 7 days a week.
Well, the way I'm looking at it, we're going to have the town is going to be running the info center that will be staffed by 2 people, and every once in a while, once an hour or once every 2 hours, one of those staff members can go walk the parking lot and check all the license plates. We already got staff there, so that will work for us.
Councillor McGonigal, did you have any input?
Thanks for acknowledging me, Chair Vomaka. I think one of the biggest problems last year when restrictions were lifted was parking, and we heard it constantly and looking for solutions. This is one solution. To allocate all of Saywell to one business or 2 businesses would not be appropriate either. When you look at 6 to 8 hours for vehicles to be parked there, you're taking away from other opportunities of businesses on the uptown side of town. So I think 2-hour accommodation is sufficient for people coming to visit. It's not sufficient for tubing opportunities, which can take up to 6 hours. So I find it problematic that we're looking to allocate a large portion of Saywell to a singular business, and I don't think that is appropriate. Perhaps the alternative in Centennial Park may have been a little pricey for the 2 organizations. I understand it was a significant amount of money, but that is to recoup the costs of the infrastructure, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Sandu. So if we could look at perhaps stretching that over a number of seasons instead of trying to recoup all at once, that may be another option moving forward. But I think the 2 hours is been loud and clear by people wanting to park there. And of course, locals looking for no 2-hour parking for them. You're not going to be able to do that. If you live in Victoria and you're a local and you go to a parking lot, you pay. So it has to be for everyone or no one. Enforcement will be problematic, and collection, I think, may be problematic. But with Robbins, at least you have the option of collection through ICBC. And not
They're geared up with ICBC where they can go after you and collect.
So sorry, Mayor Day, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I was muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. So with the parking and the expression there that I saw of the parties thought it might be too expensive. I'm just wondering if it would be an opportunity also to consider a percentage on the take on year 1 or whatever. Just putting that out there as a thought. And the only reason I brought up enforcement is it just, if we don't have enforcement, they're not locals coming down our main street. Are they going to notice the signs? If we don't have proper enforcement, they're going to park there for 6 or 8 hours anyways, all over the place. So that's why I think it's important. And I just was curious as how we were going to have staff to do that. So thank you for that explanation.
And I'm happy that the 2-hour parking is going to be established, because the prior council, that was our decision when we implemented the 2-hour parking all throughout town. And so I'm quite happy with that. And Councillor McGonigal is right. I did have a discussion with Mr. Frisbee where I said that it's not our council's job to aid in a business. And so that's a public park and it's there for everybody. And I'm just wondering whether we have the ability, because the Centennial Park, even though it's not being used for baseball right now, but it is a trial, is there any way that we can maybe forfeit the fee for this year as a trial to see if it does help to divert traffic down to that area, not only for us, but also for that, that tubing venture and other people who may park there too? Because you may not just get 2 people there, you may get people who pull in with a motor home or a little camper that might just want to park there that day just to, be out and about in Lake Cowichan. So to have the fee for one business to pay for that, I'm a little hesitant about that one. So I'd just like to open that up as maybe a possibility for discussion.
Okay, go ahead, Kristen.
No,
Yes.
I was just gonna ask, what the cost will be for that parking lot, if that's been figured out.
Is that unmuted?
Yeah.
I've done some budget numbers. It's could be anywhere between $18,000 to $21,000 to build that parking lot. So it's a fair investment the town has to put out, Lorna, to build it. So
yeah,
we need to recoup some of that or all of it. Over time we could possibly, but I don't know how much fees we got. Like nothing was budgeted for that to start with. Now this is coming up. And just another comment I want to make, it's not just one business, it's a couple of businesses. So keep in mind, Jake's and the Tube Shack are I don't know what, they're using the Saywell parking lot, because Jake's is supposed to have a certain amount of parking spots because of the restaurant. When that building was built, it's supposed to have X number of seats. So, so then they're using the parking lot, they rented that to the Tube Shack. Then they bring in the food truck and they take more parking spots. So they're taking their own parking spots, renting them out, and then they rely on, say, public parking. And that's not how their business license is set up.
Okay. I think I saw, Joseph, you wanted to speak on that?
Yeah, and I think we have an unusual situation where 2 businesses use the same premises. And so we have an overflow of parking vehicles, cars and trucks that are using Saywell Park and basically street parking. So I think we should look at a solution, a short-term solution that will see the Tube Shack and maybe Jake's on the Lake pay maybe not the amounts that we were looking for, but a nominal amount that they can afford, and that way they will police the site that we allocate for them on Centennial Park. Then we don't have to be doing that. They can do it themselves. So they'll have a mechanism, I'm sure, by which they will make sure that nobody else parks there. At least we can allocate a certain number of spots for them. And maybe that is one way of doing it. But if council wants to refer that back to staff, we can work the numbers. And I think Mayor Day had suggested a percentage, and that's something we can also look at. But then we would be relying on the honesty of the Tube Shack to come up with what they're earning in the summer, or come up with a minimum. At least they should. I think they had indicated a willingness to pay a certain amount.
Well, that's why I was suggesting that if we don't do any infrastructure and don't put any parking there, because we, like Jazz said, we didn't budget it, and just leave it as the parking the way it is right now, and see whether this does help to alleviate by people being redirected there, and then look at it next year to putting in permanent parking and charging the users as an exclusive parking lot was my thought, but that's just my thought. Mayor Day, and then Councillor Austin.
Yes, thank you very much again, Madam Chair. Just I was thinking, and I asked the question because all of a sudden we seem to have funding. We just passed the budget. All of a sudden we had funding to build a parking lot. And which is fine. And so I asked the question why, and the answer given to me was that we've got a grant outstanding for Centennial Park. So obviously, if we're lucky enough to receive that grant, we have our 20% put away, and just wondering if that our contribution could be spent now on the creation of those 2 parking spots and lessen the burden to taxpayers or other budgets that you may be transferring money around to that we didn't have budgeted for that. So
That
just putting
was
that
the
out
plan.
there.
That was the plan.
Thank you.
Councillor Austin?
I was gonna say, similar to yourself, Councillor Vomaka, that do we need to pave it and spend a whole bunch of money? Were you planning on opening up the end of Fern to drive into there from Point Ideal? Because people won't want to drive all the way around. Is that
No.
what the plan is?
Where we were planning on building it is between Point Ideal Road and the ball field. There's that grassy area.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut the curbs and so they're not mountable, so you can drive through there, and create the parking lot right there, right along Point Ideal Road. So it's closer again to Saywell Park. So that's the area we were thinking about building it.
Councillor McGonigal?
And for the price quoted, that will not be paved. It'll be a gravel parking lot.
It's
So it will not be paved.
No.
And to look at diverting traffic all the way up South Shore Road to Centennial Ballpark, I'm not sure that will work. So the access and egress along Point Ideal would be the closer proximity for that parking situation. If we can leave it with staff to come back with some workable numbers and approach the 2 businesses with the council's input from tonight, I think that would be appropriate, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mayor Day?
Yeah, just a parting thought on those and great comments, Councilor McGonigal, that also if we manage to get these parking lots created, they are in the Centennial Park Master Plan, and it could possibly also ease the angst of some members of the public that want access to Centennial Park. It would create parking at the bottom end and be a lot more civilized than currently what's available within Centennial Park because it's unfinished yet. But so just could be an added asset to that to benefit us and the local taxpayers.
Okay, so we're going to just leave it with staff to come back to council or to work with the 2 proponents. Sorry, Joseph, you're muted.
We'll work with the 2 proponents and come back with a report
Okay,
that I think will work.
okay, thank you. Okay, so we're moving on. I believe we have a delegation. You're still muted.
I just have listen in. I'll just invite them in so we can
Okay.
maybe.
So we're awaiting a delegation. I don't know the person's first name. S. Powers on Boundary Road regarding the water service and drainage up on Boundary Road. So we'll just wait for them to come in.
Madam Chair, do you want to just continue with the agenda while I work
Oh,
this
you
out?
wait? Okay. Oh, so we have no correspondence. And so we're going to go to the verbal comment section. So if the public would like to either phone in at 250-749-6681 or email any questions or comments to general@lakecowichan.ca on anything that you may see here for the Public Works and Environmental Services meeting. Or I guess you can also take the time and be ahead for our Public Works that will come after this meeting. And while we're still waiting, or I guess we have to take our 3 minutes, don't we, to wait?
Yes.
So what's new in town while we're waiting?
Yeah. So, I get rid of it.
Have you had an ice cream yet, Lorna?
Yes, on Saturday, we had all the businesses open down here, so there was a free cone over there. And Jason over next door to me was doing a hot dog barbecue.
Huh.
Yeah, it was absolutely wonder. There was a lot of people down here in this area, which was nice to see. Yes, we all social distanced. And it was nice to see people out. When you look across the street, you see the little kids out there having their first ice cream of the season. Yeah, it was quite nice. As well as, a lot of the seniors were out and about, which was nice too.
Good. I thought I'd wait. I'll go this week, give him a chance,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate when you look outside that this is all going to end in a few days.
Thursday, Friday, yeah, but it's all right.
But you know what? I look at it as the Mother Nature's watering for me, and I get a few days reprieve out in the garden, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, me too. I watered before we came on tonight because it's dry already where I've
Yeah.
planted. And you've got seeds, I plant seeds rather than plants.
Well, we've already had a bit of a fire in the boulevards, in a spot where there's bark mulch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, earlier in the week, I think it was. No, last week. An evening fire. Somebody threw a cigarette in the bark mulch.
That's why they say not to use it. Yeah. Fire smart.
Okay, is it 3 minutes up?
Yeah, I believe it is.
You want to continue with the Public Works?
Yeah, we might as well go on to our report or your report about the March 2021, please.
Yeah,
Are we
so-
not waiting for public input, or I think that's why we recessed, was it not?
Oh,
Yeah, I thought the 3 minutes were up, but we haven't heard anything. But we'll wait.
we're on a timetable
Just
here.
waiting for Joseph, that's all.
We've got the delegation here, so you may want
Okay.
to.
Steve?
I mean, Steve Powers.
Computer isn't working for some reason, so I'm relying on this one. So I'm not even sure. You got yours on?
Hi, Steve, can you hear us?
Yeah, there we go. How you doing? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
welcome, Steve. So as a delegation, just a reminder that we give you 10 minutes.
perfect.
for your presentation. And if you need
Okay.
to go longer, then the council will have to approve that
Okay.
overage. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I shouldn't go over 10 minutes, so it should be pretty quick. So I've just got 3 points. What I'm going to do is I'll go over everything really quickly, like less than 5 minutes. And then what I'm hoping I can do is walk you through the property for the second 5 minutes, because really me just telling you about the problem does it no justice. You need to really see what's going on. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Boundary Road much or not. So anyway, what I'd love to do is be able to turn my phone and picture around so you can see outside. Can I just turn it? Are you guys okay with that? Just
We're not getting any picture right now. I think you have to join in the video.
okay. But you can see me?
No,
No.
we can just see a blank
Oh.
head.
Oh, okay. Well, how do I? Sorry, give me 2 seconds here to try to figure out how to do this, because I've never done Zoom before, so I should be able to. It says live, so I'm not sure how to do the video.
So up where it says live, where it says video, next to the mute.
Live. Copy stream link. Cancel. Nope. Jeez.
I think it's at the bottom of your screen. The microphone and the video. On mine, it's at the bottom.
Should be coming up. Oh, here we go. That should do it. Is that? Okay, hang on. It came up and now it's gone. Start video. Allow Zoom. Allow. Okay, there we go. You got it? You can
Yes,
see me?
we do. Yeah, we can
Okay,
see.
perfect. Perfect. So I'm just going to show you the kind of property here so you can kind of see what's going on. So let me just start. I got 3 main points. The first thing is just so you guys are familiar. I don't know how familiar you are with the property of the water system that drains into the property. There's okay, so there's a street in front of us. There are 2 main drains, one either side of this street here. That the right side drains into the left side, and then it crosses the street and drains into 71 Boundary Road. And then Boundary Road up the top does exactly the same thing. There's 2 sides, 2 drains on either side of the road. They both drain down, storm drains, and then cross the road and drain into Boundary Road. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. That's the layout. Comes through the property here. So those are city drains. And that is all the water that comes into the property is from 4 designated city drains. They've been, purposely funneled into the 71 Boundary Road. It's not, just by accident or something. That is how it was planned and that is how it was laid out. It's poor planning, but at the time, I guess that's what happened. So that's issue number 1, is that, just to clarify, that the water that comes onto this property is 100% storm drain water. The property is 3/4 of an acre. It runs lengthways with Boundary Road, and the water comes all the way, the entire length of the property, all the way down here and through 2 neighbors' lots right here. And there's supposed to be a drain over there. It's never been maintained. Now, so that's issue number 1, is city water drains onto residential lot, which shouldn't happen, but it does. Issue number 2 is it's not maintained. The water is coming onto the property. It should drain over here. I've spent hours and days digging this out on 2 other properties, which is not my responsibility, but it's the only way it's got cleared out for water to flow. So that needs to be addressed. I mean, I complained 8 years ago that this wasn't being dealt with, and I got nowhere. And in 8 years, nobody's even come to look at it or touch it. So I dig this out every year. Every second year, I I have an excavator come in to redig this because the soil is so saturated. As you can see, there's water. That water is it hits solid clay, so that water doesn't go anywhere. It saturates this ground like a sponge. It's just ground is like a sponge. This is 100% saturated soil. The problem with that is killing the trees. All these trees, this used to be all nice big trees. They've all been cut down because the roots are rotted and they're falling over. If you see this one tree right here that has green shoots coming out on it, it's still living. It's nature. It's hardy. It's trying to live. But if you see the top, it's rotted. And that is the problem with a lot of these trees on this property right now, is the roots are rotted. This ground is saturated for 10 months of the year. It dries out in August, and a couple times a year, it gets so dry that it's dead. There are so many dead trees in here that the fire marshal comes around and asks us to clear it out twice, which we have done. And if you can see this green patch over here, that used to be completely treed, and it's all dead. It was 100% died off. So I just spent $5,000 last year removing all those dead trees, trying to clear up the property. And I've spent over $10,000 taking trees out. So that is my big concern right now. Okay, number one, I've got city water coming onto the property, which shouldn't happen. Number two, there is zero maintenance going on to maintain this water coming that comes onto the property, which to me is negligence and should be looked after. And number three is we're losing a lot of trees here. And that's why I want the video so you can see these trees. Like, can you see how tall those trees are? These are massive trees here. And we've had to take a few out here. They're rotted and they're rotting. So it's going to get worse, which brings me to the last part. There's a massive dogwood tree at the end, which is started to tilt. My neighbor let me know last week that it's leaning over the neighbor's house now. It's 80 to 100 feet tall. It started to lean. If that thing comes down on somebody's house, like, who's taking responsibility for that? Who's liable? This is a major problem with when trees start falling and we have to start clear cutting massive trees out. It's an issue and it needs to be dealt with in one way or the other. Now, the neighbor over here is intending to level her lot so she can have some yard, but the drain is in her property where she is intending to put a floor drain or a retaining wall is right above the drain, which she wasn't aware it was there because you can't see the thing. It's so overgrown and covered up. So I'm going to walk around. I may lose you. If I lose you, then I've lost you. I think I've got my main points to cross. But you need to see where this water drains to and how inadequate the system is. So I put all this piping in.
So I think we've lost.
As you can see.
Yeah, we've lost you.
But we've got,
Steve.
we've got this issue to contend with trees coming down, massive angle. Am I losing you?
Yeah, we're losing you, so we'll have to go back.
Oh, can you see me or hear me now?
Yeah, we can still hear you. You've got about 1 minute left, so.
Okay, I'm going to very quickly show you this drain because that's so this.
No, you've frozen, sir, so. Can you still hear us though, Steve? Okay,
And where it goes in the money. I excavate this every other year to keep it maintained. And
so
the
Steve,
other end of,
hello?
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt you, but
Yep, go ahead.
we're getting frozen frames and we're not getting your full conversation. So
Okay.
I'm going to,
let's get out of range.
Yeah, I'm just going to allow council to address you with any questions they may have, if that's okay.
For sure. Go ahead.
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Powers? Councillor Sandu?
Hi, Mr. Powers.
there.
When was the last time that you contacted Public Works over this issue?
It was 8 years ago. That was the first time I contacted. And I've just dealt with it myself since then.
Okay. Could I then make a recommendation to council that we ask staff to look into this, our Public Works Superintendent, to attend your property and go over this with you?
For me, it's fine, for sure. If you're asking me, yeah, totally.
And then we can get something back, but it should be in staff's hands.
Yes. Well, is he still there?
I am. It said host.
Okay.
Stop the
Can
video.
I ask one question of you, please, sir?
Of course.
The trees that are being taken down or in jeopardy of coming down, are they on your property or town property?
It's all our property. There's no town. They're all neighbors' yards, all residential yards that back together there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And so our superintendent is on this Zoom with us, so he's aware and will, I assume, make contact with you.
Okay. Okay. If there's no other questions, thank you so much. for
Mayor,
coming.
no, Mayor Day has a question for you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
So not a question, but it's an opportune time to make a comment, seeing as how we are live, that just a reminder to the public and you, Mr. Powers, that please reach out appropriately to the town staff whenever there's issues like this that arise, so it doesn't become such a big issue for you, and you may become frustrated with the way the town works. We have had a turnover in public works superintendents and things like that. So there's a good chance 2 or 3 emails would probably have dealt with this a lot sooner. And just a reminder to the public as well, just relieve yourself of any anxiety or frustration and send the emails to where it belongs. And more, not to you, Mr. Steve, but to the rest of the public. I mean, we don't call, we call the police when we need the police. We call the fire department when we need the fire department. If you have a public works concern, please reach out. And if you don't get a response, at least give it 2 or 3 shots. So thanks, everybody.
Yep.
And thank you for joining us today, Mr. Steve.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
And so, Mr. Fernandez, did we have any verbal comment or questions from the public?
Not at all.
None at all. Okay,
No.
so we'll move on then to our reports, and to our superintendent's first report is Public Works for March of 2021.
Okay, good evening. I guess you've all gone through the report. Have you guys got any questions on it? It's pretty straightforward.
We just like to hear it from you, though. You have to pat yourself and the staff, on the back by letting, the public know what you're doing.
All right. So the following work, again, some of it's completed and some's in progress. We've had to remove a few more, it says danger trees, but these were problem trees. They're large trees that the root systems were getting into our sewer mains and have plugged some sewer mains. So we've had to remove the trees, and we've got to go in and redo some of the piping because it's totally plugged our pipes. Sanitary line, they're just finished flushing them again just this past week. Catch basins, culverts, maintaining, it's continuing. Potholes, an ongoing issue all around town. Sanitary pump stations, we're doing some maintenance, just contacted a contractor this past week, and they're giving us a quote to do some upgrades in the Pine Street pump station. Arbutus Avenue, the I&I work is out for quotes right now. We'll be getting 3 or 4 companies to give us quotes on it. That's the sewer upgrade there. The oil spill on Park Road, Stantec is still working on it. they've hired a company now. They will be coming doing the remediation of the ground. They should be starting anytime. We've got all the paperwork in place for them now. The boomsticks around the raw water pump station is now completed. The bus shelter at our main bus shelter beside the field store. You've probably seen some work being done there. We put the new concrete pad in, and we were waiting on BC Transit and CVRD to find out if we've got approval for a new larger shelter. And we just got that approval today, matter of fact, that BC Transit is going to supply us with a new shelter there. I'm not sure when it's coming yet, but we do have the approvals now. And they'll be paying the majority of it. CVRD and the town's got a small portion to pay for it, for the installation only, actually. The town crew's been out doing some sweeping around town. Still lots to do. Trying to clean up all the winter sand. You're probably noting the main street hasn't been done yet. Cowichan Lake and South Shore. That is a highway maintenance company. They're supposed to do it, and I've been in contact with them, and they're trying to push it onto the town, but we'll see what happens here. Because when I ask other things on the side of the streets, they always tell me the ministry is only responsible curb to curb. So I've told them, well, come and clean your streets. It's your sand and when you guys are doing the winter sanding, so come and clean it up. So, and our spring planning, again, we're still carrying on with that for summer now, and what we're going to do through the rest of the season. And the others is just reminder for all the residents to try to keep the sidewalks clean. It's the time the everything grows out into the boulevards, the trees, the weeds, the brushes. If they can just try to keep everything clean. Yeah, and the other thing you probably noticed, we got the sidewalk at the entrance of town completed near the motel there. I think that's about I guess the banners. I guess I better talk about the banners.
Yes.
The banners are up through town, but unfortunately, Carolyn, my crew forgot to do the ones the students brought, but we will get on that very, very quickly. They had a water break, so they got the main ones done, and they took off to do the water main break, so we will get the rest of them.
Thank you. Councillor Austin?
Yes, thank you. The banners, I'll send pictures for everybody. I was going to send them earlier and I forgot. I would like to, hopefully we can send a letter to Rebecca Shear to thank her for doing these. She spends a lot of time cleaning them and getting them ready to be redone, and then their grade 9 class to do them. So I'm hoping staff wouldn't mind sending her a letter. Thank you, ongoing things. They still have that large, I don't know what you want to call it. It's a wall hanging of the lake. They're hoping that we will put in our new town hall when we have it. It's in the foyer at the school. So she really does a lot of work on her own. It's not all school time. So I think we need to thank her for that.
Absolutely. Mr. Fernandez?
Okay, now you are.
Unmute myself. I just wanted to add a little thing on the sidewalk at the entrance of town. I think what we have not indicated here is that it was a partnership between the motel and the town to construct that sidewalk. They paid a good portion of the cost towards that project. I don't think people are aware of that, but council needs to be aware.
Mr. Sandhu?
I just wanted to make a comment on, I think it would be the town staff, we can send a letter to the students, but I think possibly it would mean more if mayor and council did one up to the students. I think that'd be great.
Thank you. Counselor McGonigal?
It would mean more from all of you than just me.
Well, I think you're more important than all of us put together, but that being said, I want to give kudos to not only Public Works, but the partnership for completing the sidewalk at the entrance of town. I think that does complete that portion of the upgrade, and it does look quite good. I have had comments personally from people as they come into town saying that it does look finished now. So thank you very much to both parties.
Mayor Day?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I thought that mayor and council could send a letter. So if council doesn't mind on your behalf, I could pen a nice letter in appreciation as well, if that's appropriate and you're okay with that. Yeah, we're very lucky and we should be very thankful when community and volunteer groups do these kind of things for us. And it gives a nice homegrown flavor to our community.
Yeah, I must say, I drove into town and saw the sidewalk being finished, and then I saw the banners, and it was like, wow, that really, just about, what would you say? It's the icing on the cake coming through town. Everything looks fresh and new and clean, and congrats to Public Works for sure. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to your second report, which is the water treatment plant update.
The water treatment plant, everything's the same. We haven't had any issues. It's operating great. Yeah. There's not much to report there.
So just a question, when we were, I'm gonna have to stop to think of the name, but council will help me with this one. Was there was something of too much of something in the water that we were looking at?
Aluminum.
Aluminum.
Minimum.
And how did that get rectified?
It's not 100% rectified. What happens is we've been monitoring our raw water versus what we're putting out and how much coagulant we're putting in to treat it.
Mhm.
It's the raw water that's got a high amount of aluminum in it that's causing the problem. We discussed this with Island Health a while back. So we do a few tests a month, and the raw water has got aluminum in it. And when we put the coagulant in, it's causing it to go a little bit higher. But what the amount we're using is not, we're within our standards, our allowable amounts. It's, yeah,
So just out of interest, does that amount of the aluminum from the lake, does it change?
yes, yeah.
So it doesn't stay
It-
as one straight?
No,
It goes up
it's
and down.
changed. It hasn't changed much yet, but it does fluctuate for some reason, unknown to us why.
Interesting, thank you. Councillor McGonigal?
It is interesting considering we use alum as a coagulant to get rid of turbidity when
Yeah,
there's already aluminum in the lake to reduce the turbidity.
yeah.
So it's an interesting concept. So the monitoring, I think, is important because any levels that would exceed our island health parameters would be problematic. So I'm glad to hear that there is some monitoring in the aluminum,
Yeah.
and we'll just have to keep an eye on it.
Thank you. So we'll go on to your performance report. And I think that's our basic monthly report on how the water treatment plant is running.
Yeah.
you
The water treatment plant is running fine. We haven't had any issues. Everything according to how it's supposed to run and what health is requirement. Everything's moving along good.
Perfect. And the information is there on our website if any of the residents would like to read that. So thank you.
Yes.
And now we'll pull, you've already talked about this one, but we'll go back to the bus pullover. And you can let us know more about how they're gonna put it in.
The bus pullover, so it's going where the old Payless gas station was across from Country Grocer. So what will be happening there, we're gonna build it into that lot which the town owns now. So when the bus pulls over there, it'll be completely off the road. And we will also be putting a new shelter there. Most likely the one that got removed from the fire hall will go there. And so we're still working with BC Transit and CVRD and see if we can get a brand new one, a large one there too, but we'll see how funding goes. But we do have the option of still putting that other one there. So it's going to be quite nice. And then we will try to clean up that the rest of that lot and maybe do some planting there or a spot for a food truck. There's options there what we can do, but we want to clean it up. But that'll be depending how our budget goes.
Very good, thank you. Councillor Sandhu?
When we talked about it, I think last month, did the neighbors get notified of this project?
Not yet, no.
Councillor Austin?
I'm just going to thank you for cleaning up that lot, because that's the lot we usually cut all the broom out of.
Mhm.
And I see there's more there. Gordon just had his blade. It's at the highway rentals right now getting repaired. So if you're gonna get rid of the broom from there, that's great. We don't have to do that this year. And it would be nice if there was a little bit of as you say, some planting there at some point. Funds allowed, of course. So thank you for that. That'll be nice.
Mhm.
I know each time I come up behind a bus, I go, oh yay, this will be so nice to have that off the road. And it's better for pedestrians too, especially with people with mobility challenges trying to cross a road to get to a bus there. So thank you for what you do. Councillor McGonigal, and then on to Mayor Day.
Thank you very much. If we could just go back to the water treatment for a minute. I just want to clarify that all those who are interested in the training are being afforded that opportunity to move forward with the training. Is that correct?
It's not totally correct now. We haven't, we've had so many other things to do at this point, water breaks and flushing and stuff. We haven't been able to, we don't have enough staff to take one person and send them up there for training at this point. It's a bit of a tough situation. We're struggling with that. We're trying, but it's at this point, we haven't been able to.
So just to follow up, if I may, Madam Chair, I think I understand the complexity of staff shortages at this time, but when the time and the opportunity comes, I know that for successorship reasons, that should be a high priority for continuity within that system. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so then we can move on to, we have no new business. Sorry, Mayor Day. Oh,
Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to comment. I noticed in the back of the old gas station property that's referred to as it, there seems to be some storage of building materials and yard debris and things. So do we know if that's on that property, or is that belong to somebody else?
On town property.
Thank you.
oh,
I'm not 100% sure whose property that is at this point. When the consultants come in to lay out and check all the grades and everything for the bus pullover, I've asked them to find that property line for me. So we do know when, if somebody's storing material on town property, we'll have to get that removed.
thank you. Okay, so we move on. We have no new business. And do we have any notices of motion? Not seeing any. We'll go on to, public relations items.
I just have one.
Mhm.
I did mention last week that it's National Volunteer Week, and I was at Island Health today, and they're so good down there. They sent me a letter. National Volunteer theme for 2021 is the value of one, the power of many. And it reflects on the awe-inspiring acts of kindness by millions of individuals and the magic that happens when we work together towards a common purpose. They've had a lot of volunteers at all the COVID clinics and that are working really hard. And our nurses are working, sometimes 12 hours at some of these things too. We get a gift of a hanging basket every year and a small gift certificate from Thrifties. or Tim's, depending on which one. So they really do treat their volunteers well, and I'm really pleased to be able to do that. And we have a great unit there. Just one thing is we do have a nurse practitioner that's coming out now that needs to be referred by a doctor from a walk-in clinic. If they don't have a doctor, they can go to the nurse practitioner. So there's quite a lot more going on, and that's a great facility in our town that people need to be aware of. We're mostly handling families and children right now, and the injections and things like that. So I just wanted to mention that again, because they're a great group of people to volunteer with.
Thank you. Mayor Day? You're muted.
I did it too. So thank you very much, Madam Chair. So I just want to take this time to do kind of a reverse role in public relations here, and just say how that now that the town's gardening staff is back at work here, it's been a noticeable difference, and not just them, but the rest of the staff as they're cleaning up the town. It's really looking awesome, and well, we can also accredit that to the beautiful sunshine that's helping things sprout to life here. So just keep up the good work, Mr. Superintendent. Your staff is doing a fabulous job.
And I think it popped up today that Earth Day is on Thursday, the 22nd. Is that the time every year where you're supposed to turn your power off?
Well, at the same time, yes.
Around the
Oh, I
same
think that
time?
was, I think they did that in they did it in March. Internationally, they did the time off, but we'll have to see. Yeah, sorry.
Mhm. So it is Earth Day.
Yep.
And Councillor Austin, while you're there, did I also see an announcement too about the Forest Workers Memorial?
Oh, yeah, I'm not really on that.
Morning? Sorry, you muted yourself.
I'm not really on that anymore. Tim is, but they do sell the bricks every year. And oh, we mustn't forget a day of mourning on the 28th
That's
too.
the one I was asking about. So if
Yeah.
Councillor McGonigal wants to let us know if there will be, I guess with COVID, there won't be anything.
It may be virtual again this year,
Virtual?
Madam Chair.
Okay.
I will keep
Okay.
you informed and send the link.
Last year we actually, Lori Yenny DiNardo will still come out, I think. She likes to do that. So we did, some of us were there last year self-distancing. So I know
Good.
she insists on coming out with her red roses. So we'll see. I haven't emailed her yet.
Okay, good. Thank you. So then we're going to question period. So we'll pause for 3 minutes while members of the public can phone at 250-749-6681 with any questions or comments, or they can email to general@lakecowichan.ca. So I will see everybody back here at 6:06, please. Thank you. So Joseph, on the bottom of the agenda, and it's
Huh?
still stay on the bottom of the agenda, I think it needs to be changed to, should this meeting end sooner than 6 o'clock?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Okay,
Okay. Well, it does say it on the other one, though. Oh, no later than.
no. Because Public Works is always first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does say at the bottom, should this meeting end sooner than 7 PM?
Yeah, but shouldn't it say 6 being that we're,
Oh,
We're
I
on
see what
the-
you're saying.
yeah,
we
we're-
didn't- You're right.
It's hard to get all the corrections in. Yeah,
yeah, that's okay.
that works.
I can do my best to stretch it another hour if you want.
Yeah, don't
Come on,
talk about
come on, Counselor McGonigal, you know I can talk.
Well, I know you could do it, but I'd be hangry by then.
Yeah. It's,
I just won't say hiring staff.
yeah.
Start updates are okay, right?
I think we're just waiting for a few more to come back.
Let me, put this. When this adjourns.
Okay, I think we can still go on though. Joseph, was there any questions or comments? You're muted, sir.
Nothing at all.
Nothing, thank you. And so with that, we'll look for an adjournment, please. By Counselor Austin, seconded by Counselor McGonigal. And so we will take 10 minutes and we'll be back at 6:18 for Counselor Austin.
Why don't we do 6:15 like it says on the agenda? Is that okay?
6:15. Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
might as well.
6:15, we'll go and get a few seconds of sunshine.
Or a cup of tea, right?
Right, thank you.
Joe, are you saying live till 6:15? Or do you come and go, hello? You're muted. Do you stay live the whole time while we wait, or do you go out and come back? You're muted.